You are watching the 8th episode of the Indic Past series titled as Understanding the Application of Yuga Concept. In the last episode, I established that the planet Saturn was discovered only during the mini ice age called Younger Dryas that started 12,000 years ago. Since the planets form the basis of Chaturmaha Yuga, I deduced that the very idea of Chaturmaha Yuga must have come into being only after the discovery of Saturn, that is, after 12,000 years before present. In the same episode, I established the sun Marthanda as a son of Younger Dryas or the mini ice age. This sun was lackluster because of the dust kicked off by the comet that fell on the earth, and Marthanda is considered as the deity of the 13th lunar month or the Adhika Masa. Since Adhika Masa forms the basis of the 5-year Yuga, I also told that this 5-year Yuga also must have been conceptualized only after the Younger Dryas days, that is after 11,000 years before present. In the long time scale of Pleistocene and Holocene, we placed Skanda during the Younger Dryas, which we established in many episodes in the past. And Skanda lived at the end of the Chakshusha Manvantara. After him started the Vaivasvata Manvantara, with Vivaswan, the hot sun, coming up around 10,500 before present. Now the question may arise, how these manvantras are having such short periods. Normally, manvantras and yugas are said to run for lakhs of years. Then which one is true? What does the scripture say? Therefore, we have to clarify these views before we move ahead with our Skanda theory. So, in this episode, I am going to give the fundamentals of the Chaturmaha Yuga, by which we will be able to solve some of the hidden meanings and mysteries of our scriptures. In this episode, I am going to give a mystery found in Mahabharata and solve it with this fundamental concept of Chaturmaha Yuga. In the next episode, we will be talking about the Manvantara concept, and in the 10th episode on the 5-year Yuga concept, after which we will come back to the Skanda theory and pick up from there. The Chaturmaha Yuga has 4 yugas: Krita, Treta, Dwapara and Kali. The Kali Yuga is of a duration of 4,32,000 years, solar years. The solar year forms the basic unit of all the yugas, and Kali Yuga duration forms the basis of the other yugas of the Chaturmaha Yuga. Dwapara is twice the span of Kali, and Treta 3 times, and Krita Yuga 4 times the duration of Kali Yuga. So this 4:3:2:1 is the ratio by which the Chaturmaha Yuga has been apportioned into individual yugas. It is said that Rama lived in Treta Yuga, and people tend to believe that he had lived in the Treta Yuga of this Chaturmaha Yuga formation, that is before 8,64,000 years. This raises a serious question on the historicity of Rama. And also it is impractical to say that a civilization that has lived 8 lakhs years ago in India is continued to be remembered even today. So there is something wrong in the way that we have understood the Chaturmaha Yuga. We will explain it now. The Chaturmaha Yuga is of the duration of 43 lakhs 20,000 years, and it forms the basis of the Manvantara also. The 71 Chaturmaha Yugas form one Manvantara. And today we are in the 7th Manvantara known as Vaivasvata Manvantara, and in the 28th Chaturmaha Yuga of this Manvantara. That is 27 Chaturmaha Yugas have gone, so it is possible for us to calculate the number of years that have elapsed since the beginning of Vaivasvata Manvantara. So the Chaturmaha Yuga duration multiplied by 27 gives us the number 116.6 million years. So this is the time elapsed since the beginning of Vaivasvata Manvantara. Do you know what this implies? Let me show you a map of India. The India was not where it is now today. It has drifted northward in the past for millions of years. According to studies, it is found out that the Indian landmass was very much south of the equator some 70 million years ago. Then just imagine where it could have been when Vaivasvata Manvantara started 116.6 million years ago. So it is too impractical to connect the Chaturmaha Yuga with what we are seeing around us or about us. So the Chaturmaha Yuga is not about us. It is about something else. It could be about the geological happenings or something else. Let us explore what it is about. The concept of Yuga is useful in understanding the concept of existence, which is nothing but the concept of creation in ordinary parlance. But I would rather like to use the word existence because Brahman is about existence. Its essential nature is existence. Why do I talk about all this? Because this is about the basics. You know the basics, then you can understand anything, interpret anything. Let us build it up. Let me show how it is done. And since the Brahman is in existence, its essential quality is existence, and there is no end to it or no beginning to it, it is possible to describe it in the form of a circle like this, where there is no beginning or end. It is also said that 1/4 of it is in manifest form. Only 3/4 is in unmanifest form, which can be simulated here in the circle. Now I am going to superimpose the figure of Lord Nataraja here, with his right hand holding the drum signifying creation and his left hand holding the fire signifying destruction, which exactly matches with this map. At the point of creation, the four-faced Brahma is present. He is four-faced because he is looking on all sides, all directions. And in the manifest world, Vishnu takes charge as protector, and at the time of destruction, Rudra takes hold of the situation as the annihilator, whose head and toe cannot be found. Once you cross Rudra, everything is in unmanifest form. And here, in the manifest region, this region is said to be of a duration of 100 years of Brahma, and this is measured in Yuga only. The Yuga scale, running into lakhs of years that we have just now seen, is useful in measuring the age right from the time of Brahma till the basic unit, that is the solar year. And here we are right in the middle of it. That is, we have crossed 50 years of Brahma. To calculate the 1/4 manifestation of the Brahman or 100 years of Brahma, we need Kali Yuga as the basic unit, which in turn is based on the solar year. Kali Yuga is of a duration of 4,32,000 years, and 10 times Kali Yuga is Chaturmaha Yuga. 1,000 times Chaturmaha Yuga is Kalpa, which is equal to 1 day or 1 night of Brahma, which is equal to 4,320 million years or 4.32 billion years. That is, 1 day of Brahma is equal to 4.32 billion years, which is nothing but the age of the earth. The earth came into being only around 4.32 billion years ago. And this is half the age of the sun, within which time it has gone around the galactic center 20 times. So everything in galactic or cosmic scale is expressed in terms of yugas. And 1 day and 1 night of Brahma forms a day of Brahma, which can be calculated as 8.64 billion years. Based on this, we can deduce the age of Brahma of 100 years, which is like this. That is, for 1 day, 8.64 billion years. So, since a year consists of 360 days, 8.64 multiplied by 360 and further multiplied by 100 for 100 years. And that is the duration of the age of Brahma, which we have already seen in the form of Nataraja's dance. The 100 years of Brahma, that is this quarter formation, the 1/4 of the manifestation spans for this much of billions of years, which I have not calculated into trillions. I will leave it to experts. The point is, cosmic scale, or for measuring large numbers, In the cosmos, the Yuga scale is used. Applying the basics that we have acquired just now of the duration of the day or the night of Brahma of 4.32 billion years, let us see whether this fits with the modern science. According to current science, the creation started since the time of Big Bang, which happened 13.77 billion years ago. In this time scale, we can position ourselves using this Yuga concept. In the current Kalpa, we have completed 6 Manvantras and we are in the 7th Manvantara, having completed 27 Chaturmahayugas. When we calculate all that, the figure comes out to be 1.97 billion years since the beginning of the current Kalpa, which we can position here. This is the daytime of Brahma. And 4.32 billion years before this was the night time of Brahma, when not much creative activity was happening, no life was forming at that time. 4.32 billion years before that was the daytime of Brahma, at which time you can see that galaxies and planets have developed. And before that was night time since the beginning of the Big Bang. But the Yuga concept gives us some interesting revelations, because according to that concept, the night time of Brahma had started not from Big Bang but 1.16 billion years before that. So this gives an impression whether for 1.16 billion years before the Big Bang, the things were brewing up to give rise to Big Bang. So this is the revelation or the idea that we are acquiring from the Yuga theory. And as per this theory, such a long duration of creation that science has recognized, we are only in the second day of Brahma. And not only that, this Yuga concept gives us some idea about how to measure the cosmos. That is the utility of the Yuga concept. The Yuga concept measures space by means of time using the celestial entities in our neighborhood. These celestial entities are the grahas or planets. When they are all together, that marks the beginning of the Yuga. Griha Samanyam Yugam says Aryabhatiya. All the planets except Rahu were together at the beginning of Aries when Krita Yuga started, says Aryabhatiya. Why except Rahu? Because Rahu and Ketu are 180 degrees away from each other. When one of them is in the congregation, the other must be away from the congregation. And the same combination occurred at the beginning of Treta Yuga also, says Surya Siddhanta. Based on this, when we work out, we come to know that the congregation has occurred every 4,32,000 years, by which we can say this congregation has happened 4 times in Krita Yuga, 3 times in Treta Yuga, 2 times in Dwapara Yuga, and only 1 time in Kali Yuga, that is at the beginning of Kali Yuga, because it happens at the beginning. And the rishis who have computed this could have computed only after finding out all the grahas, which includes Saturn also. Since Saturn was discovered only 11,700 years ago, this computation could have taken place only after this time period. And the planets include Sun and the Moon, known as the luminaries or Jyotirgrahas, the 5 planets including Saturn, known as Taragrahas, and the nodes, known as Chayagrahas. So they have been observing for thousands and thousands of years, about which I will be talking in the next episode of Manvantras. And by what they have understood from that, they were refining their theories, and by the time Saturn was discovered, they were able to lay down a proper theory of when the congregations could happen. So it was all about computational methodology only. And like Einstein's theory, which was tested during the time of a solar eclipse, the Indic rishis had a time to test their concept, because only once in Indic history this congregation was witnessed. That was when Krishna exited the world, when all the planets came together at the beginning of Aries, which marked the beginning of Kali Yuga. All the planets except Rahu have congregated at the beginning of Aries in the year 3101 BCE, that marked the beginning of Kali Yuga. And this date exactly matches with the time records we have and also numerous inscriptions. A doubt may be raised here that certain verses in Mahabharata indicate that Kali Yuga had arrived even at the time of Mahabharata war. An examination of those verses revealed that it is about the nature of people, of adharma, and not about planetary combinations. Kali Yuga is always connected with the planetary combination that we have been telling so far. Whereas the nature of the people changing or adharma increasing means Kali Yuga comes. That is a different type of Yuga concept which I will be discussing in the 10th episode. That is the other Yuga concept that I already told in the beginning. And in that case, within a short period of time, based on the dharma or adharma present, one can see Kali Yuga or even Treta Yuga or even Krita Yuga within a short period of time. That is possible in that case. So that verse is about that and not about the Kali Mahayuga. So one need not confuse oneself about it. Now coming to the issues that we can solve using the fundamentals that we have acquired so far. The first issue I want to raise is about whether the Chandramasa is Amanta or Purnimanta type. And that in those days. And people are looking for this Amanta or Purnimanta in text. It is not necessary. You look at the Kali Yuga beginning. All the planets including Sun and the Moon were together. Amavasya was there running at that time. And the Yuga started the day after Amavasya. That means the month also should have started after the day of Amavasya only. So automatically it is deduced that the Chandramasa started after Amavasya. It was Amanta type. You don't have to need a citation or you don't have to pick it out from some book. It is well understood from this. And there are places where the Purnimanta type is followed. But that is not about the Yuga concept because Yuga concept means all are together. In Purnimanta concept, Sun and the Moon are away from each other. So that is about, that should have been about a previous era. Before this Yuga concept was discovered. And also it could have evolved in the southern part of the globe. That we will be discussing at a suitable place in a future episode. Now coming to the next issue about the nodes. The nodal connection should be there for an eclipse to happen. Only when the Rahu and Ketu, one of them are joining with the Sun and the Moon, the eclipses can happen. So that is a precondition. Nodal position is a precondition for an eclipse. And it takes 18 years for these nodes to come back to the same position. That is, at the end of 18 years, they come back to the same position. At the time of Kali Yuga, they were in Pisces and Virgo. After 18 years, they come back here. And after 36 years, they come back here. The same way, you can check for the previous years also. 36th year before the Kali Yuga, Mahabharata war had happened. That means, at that time also, the nodal axis must have been here. Maybe little close to the beginning of Aries or at the end of Aquarius, but not beyond. It could not be away from this axis. That is what we understand from the basics, the fundamentals. But what do people think? People have been interpreting a few verses in Mahabharata to raise two incorrigible ideas. The first one is that the eclipses had occurred in the month of Kartika at the time of or before the Mahabharata war happened. In which case the nodal axis will be here like this, connecting Taurus and Scorpio. This is impossible given the fact that Kali Yuga started in this axis in 3101 BCE. Even without looking at the text or knowing what the verses have said, we can rule out the possibility of an eclipse happening here. Now, examining the verses, it shows that it is about the combination or the conjunction of Sun and the Moon and not about an eclipse. The verse only says the Sun and the Moon have caught up with each other. That's all. So this possibility of a nodal axis here is impossible. With the fundamental knowledge, we can say this the Mahabharata text doesn't talk about an eclipse at that time. The second incorrigible statement is that the eclipses have occurred within a gap of 13 days. That is 13-day eclipses. The two such eclipses have happened. Leave out the eclipses. You take up Amavasya and Paurnami. Can Amavasya and Paurnami happen on the 13th day? In the text, Vyasa clearly says that he had seen Amavasya happening on Chaturdashi or Panchadashi and not on Triyodashi. So he is referring to the Tithi, not to the Savana day or to the Nakshatra day. A Tithi means it is a duration of 12 degrees covered by the moon in its orbit of 360 degrees. And it has 30 phases, 30 Tithis. That is 360 divided by 30 gives 12 degrees. That is the duration of one Tithi, of which 15 Tithis are in the waxing phase and 15 on the waning phase. 180 degrees one way and 180 degrees another way, totally. So any drop in this can happen up to a level of at least 12 degrees and not more, because of some oscillation or change in the eccentricity of the orbit, that's all, but not more than that. Now explaining this, I am showing here the Tithi division. Each segment is a Tithi and the Amavasya had occurred on the 15th day. Soon after Amavasya was over, the next Tithi starts. The 12-degree duration of Prathama starts. And counted from that, on the 15th day, the Paurnami or the full moon occurs. What Vyasa had said was, he had seen the Amavasya happening on Chaturdashi, possible. Even now it happens, starting from the 14th day itself, but it will be going up to the 15th day. Within the beginning of the 15th day, it will come into that. So on the 14th day of the Chaturdashi, Amavasya can happen. And even on the 15th day, that is starting from the 15th day, the segment of the 15th day, it can go up to the next one, in which case it will be the 16th day, not Prathama. Only in this case, you will be seeing a delay in the sighting of the crescent moon. Sometimes in the Muslim community, we will be coming across these confusions, whether the crescent moon was sighted or not. Those confusions arise when the Amavasya is happening late, like this, starting from 15th to 16th. From 14th to 15th it can happen. So 15th, the connection should be there. And then from 15th to 16th it can happen. Even then the 15th connection should be there. But what he saw was 13th day, that is the Amavasya happening in Trayodashi Tithi, which means the Amavasya started within the segment of the Trayodashi and ended within that or after the beginning of the 14th Tithi. No connection with 15th Tithi. That means nearly 12 degrees were lost. How can that happen in nature? So just by reading that an illumination happened on 13th day or Trayodashi, one should immediately understand that either there is something wrong with the verse was wrongly written, or something had gone wrong with the moon. Here Vyasa had clearly stated, so nothing wrong with the verse. So something had gone wrong with the moon. Without realizing this, our people are taking it up the 13th day Amavasya, 13th day Paurnami, and also as eclipses. Now, what Vyasa had done, he started watching anxiously the upcoming phase, because the unnatural thing had happened. So what went wrong with the moon? He was watching every day the moon's growth. And even at that time, the moon ended up with a full moon on the 13th day once again, in the same planet, in the same star, where it became full moon in the previous month. That is, in 2 consecutive months, the Paurnami had happened on the same nakshatra, which is impossible to happen. You can see the loss of 4 Tithis there. So this means moon's path got shortened. This can happen only if something had hit the moon, thereby just toppling it or just shaking it from the equilibrium. So a comet had fallen on the moon on a Pushya day, and the fragments of the comet had fallen on the earth also on the same day. And the entire this Bharata tribe were looking at the sky. Karna, Vyasa, even Duryodhana, everyone were worried about the happenings. Some change, some vitiation has happened in the nature. They were watching the moon, they were watching the sky. Only in that context, they have seen Arundhati shaking her, moving away from her place, and the Dhruva Nakshatra moving away from its place. Unusually, the Mars also moving away its place in an unusual way, and two planets rising with red top and not with blue top, which is normal to happen. Rising with the red crest is abnormal to happen. These things were noticed within a short period of time when the comet had fallen on the moon mainly, and most of the fragments falling on earth also. Thus, a very big secret of a comet fall on the moon is enshrined or just lying there to pick out from Mahabharata. But alas, we are not at all aware of it. Why? We don't know the fundamentals. We never understand that a lunation or Amavasya cannot take place on a 13th day. Based on this, people keep on saying, even at the time of Kali Yuga, that is when Krishna exited from the world, even at that time there was a 13th lunation. No, the text doesn't say. The text only says that Krishna thought about the natural calamities at the time of Mahabharata when the 13th-day lunation happened. It doesn't say that 13th-day lunation happened again. If it had happened again, that means once again something went wrong with the moon at the time of Kali Yuga. But nothing of that kind had happened at that time. So, understanding the fundamentals is very essential. If you know that, you can read the mind of the Rishi. You can read the secrets enshrined in the text. And one of the secrets we have done here, we have deciphered here, which I have written in my book also. And in the next episode on Manvantras also, a similar kind of asteroid or cometary fall on the moon, I will be revealing in the next episode. So for now, we should understand that the Yuga computation is planet based, and it is used for measuring the cosmos. In the time scale of Pleistocene and Holocene, Skanda lived during the time of Younger Dryas at the end of Chakshusha Manvantara, and this was followed by Vaivasvata Manvantara. But the Kali Mahayuga discussion that we just now had shows that the Mahayuga has started in the middle of Vaivasvata Manvantara. So this Manvantara type is something else, not the larger Manvantara coming under the Yuga concept that we discussed in the beginning of this episode. That is about cosmology and not about the human life. So based on what we have deciphered so far, we can say that the Dwapara Mahayuga had gone on for lakhs of years before this Kali Mahayuga, which covers Vaivasvata Manvantara, Chakshusha Manvantara, Raivataka Manvantara, Tamasa Manvantara, etc. So these two are often spoken together. So we have to apply our logic and our sense of discrimination to know what the texts are talking about. And about this Manvantara also, we should have a clarity about where the rishis are talking about the long-term Manvantara of the Yuga scale or about the human level Manvantara, which we will be discussing in the next episode, that is part 9. Please keep sharing this video and other videos with others and come back for the 9th episode. Thank you very much.